What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Engage 8 pod. I'm your host, Zach, with my two co-hosts, Josh and Mike. We're going to get right into it and recap week two. And Josh, you want to get us started with some Thursday Night Football?
Yep. Just real quick, once again, we're recording at halftime of the Dolphins and Pats game. It's 17-3 Dolphins right now, so I'm sure we'll update you guys as the game goes on. But to get into Thursday night, Eagles beat the Vikings. Vikings on the scoreboard looks like they hung in there a little bit, but Eagles had fair control of this game for the most part. Vikings turned the ball over early and often, and they really just couldn't recover from that. Same thing for Kirk. Same amount of yardage as last week. Same result.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't think Kirk looked too bad, but he's definitely got to be a little bit better. He didn't turn the ball over, but I feel like he's just got to come up a little bit bigger in those clutch moments. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, they're turning into a really good duo. I'm honestly really scared of that for the next 10 plus years as a Bears fan, but I'm also not looking forward to anything my team has to offer. So it's rough.
Yeah, I thought Kirk Cousins actually looked very good. That offensive line wasn't giving him much to work with. He just had to take what the defense was giving him, and that's a very good defense. Jalen Carter looked great. Jordan Davis looked very good. Yeah, he didn't have the greatest rookie season. He looked good on Thursday. And then the Vikings just lack of a run game. There's not much Kirk Cousins could do. I mean, Madison just didn't have a good game, fumbled. And then the time of possession was just skewed towards the Eagles. So I think Kirk did everything he could.
That's how the Eagles beat you. They hold on to the ball and they just run it down your throat. The Vikings' run defense is horrible. We've seen that now. Eagles ran for 259 yards, which is ridiculous. Swift, 175. When Swift is healthy, he's going to do that. He did that in Detroit. He's going to continue to do that in Philly. I hope he can stay healthy because he'll be a great weapon for them in the playoffs. But yeah, Jefferson went off again. Another 150-plus yard day. But it seems like every week now, 2 weeks in, we're seeing him at the end of the game on the bench sobbing. So it is what it is, but a lot of empty stats right now.
I don't know about sobbing, but Jefferson can only do so much when the defense doesn't really want to get too many stops, stop the run. But I mean, he had two very quiet 150-yard games, and I don't even know what he's on pace for. He's on pace for like crazy numbers, over 2,000 yards, I'm pretty sure. But back over to the Eagles, like you said, Josh, DeAndre Swift, he was phenomenal. And he wasn't even like receiving the ball either. He was mainly just toting it in between the tackles, letting Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson, all them other boys up front just relocate that line of scrimmage 3 or 4 yards into the defense's throat, and just it was killing them. There was nothing they could do to stop it.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift had 133 yards before contact, and that's a ridiculous number. That offensive line, they didn't have the greatest week one against the Patriots, but this week they showed why they're the best offensive line in football. I mean, 133 yards before contact that's absurd.
And that was one of the biggest gripes that Lions fans had with Swift, is that his vision was a little bad sometimes, but his vision was fantastic on Thursday.
I think even I could see those Mack truck size
right.
that the Eagles O-line was making.
It's built in the trenches, man. We come on here, we say it every week. It's built in the trenches. Their O-line and their D-line are just ridiculous. And I just want to touch on this real quick. There's something off with the Eagles offense outside of the fact that Jalen Hurts is, I mean, does he have a 200-yard passing game yet? 2 games in?
I have no idea.
I know he didn't have it. All right. Damn, maybe we should start the conversation, but that's it for the Thursday night game. You guys got anything else?
I mean, I think the little out of touch thing is probably like new OC. Hurts is kind of just getting used to the new play calling situations and just stuff like that. But for the most part, it's same weapons around him, so he'll get used to it. He'll be fine.
And we've seen so far, we'll get to it later, but the play calling in Indy, we'll talk about it later. But it's been very good. One last thing though is that QB sneak. I want to see the Colts start doing it.
I don't think
it's down. I don't think it is, but that QB sneak is just dominant. I like to see it, although it killed me in fantasy this week. But I like to see it.
Just racks up those 1-yard touchdowns.
Honestly, the QB sneak doesn't even look like overpowered. It's like, from what I've seen this year, it's basically the O-line just generating enough push just to let him go on his own. They're not even shoving him. He's just getting across before the guys behind him.
The tight ends are, though, because they line up 2 tight ends next to him.
I know, but it seems like they're barely getting hands on him by the time that he's already over the goal line.
And there is also something to say about a quarterback that QB sneak. I mean, Brady, he was good at it.
Mhm.
You could tell it's hard to be bad at it, but there are some guys that are good at it for sure.
Right.
But all right, next game here, first game of Sunday, Packers at Falcons. Bijan was fantastic. Atlanta as a team ran for 211. Another situation where a great running team like the Eagles, like the Falcons, played a horrible run defense in the Packers and the Vikings. And they completely took advantage of it. Jordan Love was not fantastic. He had 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, but just kind of the same thing as the Bears game. The stat sheet looks great at the end, but there wasn't nothing special from Jordan Love. And those Packers young receivers, man, when they get Watson back, they have a good collection of young, really good receivers.
Yeah, I'm completely in the same boat with you with that. They got a lot of young receivers who have really high ceilings. They got some good speed out there, especially when they had Christian Watson back. But back to Love, I saw the entire first game against the Bears and a little bit of this second game. He's missing throws like over the heads of receivers and tight ends and stuff. And I don't even know what the issue is, probably just mechanical to be honest, but he's missing so many easy throws. And it's honestly kind of rough. He's not anything special to me, at least right now. He is only 4 starts in, but as of now, he doesn't seem anything to be too worried about. But to be noted, they were missing Watson and Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. This was, I don't know, maybe 3rd or 4th time in his career he was the workhorse for the Packers. But props to the Falcons, though. They pulled out a gritty one.
Not a good start for him, AJ Dillon.
Right.
No, I think the AJ Dillon hype is starting to kind of come to an end. Aaron Jones, quickly. Aaron Jones he's a top 10 back. Losing him really hurts their offense, and their offense, I wouldn't say their offense is the reason they lost today. So, I mean, Arthur Smith, he put his balls on the line today. Just some crazy 4th down calls. Going for it on 4th and inches at the 2-minute warning. You're in field goal range down 2. I gotta respect it, but very risky. And but Bijan Robinson is the reason he did that. Bijan Robinson had the big 3rd and 7 run to get him a first down, and then obviously the 4th down run. 172 yards from scrimmage. Bijan Robinson, he's just the real deal.
He's everything we said he is. And Arthur Smith, I mean, we do have the collection of coaches in the NFL like that who are just willing to. You have Dan Campbell, Staley. The only problem with that is when you do it and it pays off, you look great. You look like, oh, he put his balls on the line. You do it and it doesn't pay off, and you're an idiot. So that's the decision you had to make. It worked out for him this time. I mean, stay aggressive, though, if it keeps working. Ritter looked okay today, and honestly, that's really all they need him to be. They have basically the entire team, they're kind of set. I mean, I've been raving about the Falcons for weeks now. And just each game I feel better. Ritter's not going to get worse. He's just going to get better. And if he can just get in that mid-range, they're going to be a playoff team, 100%.
Yeah, they definitely could be, especially in that division. But one guy I want to kind of highlight after kind of being damn near invisible last week, Drake London, 6 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. He made himself known. He made a couple big catches, moving the chains a little bit. He impressed me a little bit today, but that's also what you want out of a top 10 pick at receiver. So, but if they can find their answer at QB, is it Ritter? Is it someone in next year's draft? Is it someone in the year after that? We don't know. But Drake London, Kyle Pitts, if he ever figures out whatever his issue is it schematic, or is he honestly a bust for being the 4th overall pick in that 21 draft? We don't know yet, but I like what they got at running back in the trenches on both sides, their weapons on the outside. Like they have so much potential, and this is the year for them to really learn how to win these close games, especially in this division, because they may be able to get a slight taste of the postseason come January.
Yeah, I really want to touch on the Kyle Pitts stuff. I mean, Kyle Pitts, he's an unreal talent. He is no doubt. You can't call him a bust. He hasn't got the opportunity at all to be the top tight end that he should be. I mean, today he got out-targeted by Jonnu Smith. And Jonnu Smith was receiving tight end screens. What makes you throw a tight end screen to Jonnu Smith over Kyle Pitts? That just blows my mind. Kyle Pitts, he's elite. They have to give him the ball. I mean, he can run a route, be wide open, wave his hands, and they still don't get the ball. It's absurd.
The video's kind of funny to me. I know which one you're referencing.
it's
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, it's definitely a victim of just situation. Just he's had some bad luck. He also hasn't really had a quarterback. Yeah, I mean, even now he doesn't have much of a quarterback. Ritter's been all right, but and it's just I'm not huge on the you cannot draft low value positions high, but it just seems like tight end is just one where it just never works out. I mean, Hawkinson's had a great start to the year, but Hawkinson, Ebron, like it's tough, especially in the top 5. I mean, let alone the top 10, but top 5 is tough. They need to just play him like a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, he's got the exact skill set to be a wide receiver 1. And back to what you were saying about Hawkinson, I know we're a game after that, but he's really found a nice home in Minnesota. I feel like him and Jefferson really complement each other well. One of them can really take the top off of defense and just attack in the intermediate parts of the field. And Hawkinson can just go underneath and in the intermediate parts of the field and dish it that way. And if Kyle Pitts can start to become that and not as much of a vertical threat, even though he's very much able to do so, him and London got to find some sort of dynamic, especially with Bijan in the backfield and going to be commanding a few targets a game. They got to figure that out because I feel like they're just kind of wasting him at this point.
They're 100% wasting him, and his rookie deal is going to be up soon. And
I'm about to say, is it his 5th year this year?
Is that
fourth? This is his 3rd year. I think they have to
It's
accept the
his
5th year before the start of next year.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think his agent's going to keep him there because I think he goes and signs a 1-year deal somewhere at this point.
And then just goes nuts and then makes his money.
And then he'll make his money because, I mean, he just has to get out of Atlanta at this point. They're just doing him dirty.
I think there's a scenario where if Ritter gets more comfortable, he starts feeding him and he could have a solid back end of the season. I don't think it's a bad buy low in fantasy at all. I mean, it's
on fantasy.
It can't get worse, to be honest. It really can't. And just to touch on the Vikings thing, that offense feels like they're one Dalvin Cook away from being an elite offense. All this talk about how Madison's really good, they can afford to not pay like Dalvin.
Madison he definitely is good. I don't know if he's RB1 good though. He's a good rotational back. He'd be fantastic in a committee or like the lead guy of a committee. Yeah, like you throw him in Philly, he's getting that Swift stat line every single week. But then again, most running backs probably would.
I don't know about that.
Really?
Swift's way more talented than Madison.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I feel like Madison's still a super good runner.
He is good. Madison's good if he was sitting behind like a really dynamic running back like Dalvin Cook.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But you guys ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm not, but all right. Next game here, Seahawks at Lions. This was just a disappointing game all around for the Lions. Seahawks don't have either one of their tackles, and the Lions don't get a sack until the final play of regulation. So that was absolutely brutal. And even that play was a struggle. Anzalone has a good pursuit at the end and gets it. But just only having one sack and having basically no pass rush the whole game. Was there holds? Yes. That's not why they lost, though. The Lions and defense in general just can't. You just can't come out flat like that. The secondary, we have a talented secondary, but they're not talented enough to back up getting zero pass rush. So I think the Lions just feel like they're missing one piece on the D line. They have a ton of good rotational pieces, and they're deep. I mean, obviously now we lost James Houston, and Hutch might be a little bit banged up, so that's kind of a problem. Kaminsky, I think, like twisted an ankle or something. So the injuries are piling up already, but feels like we're one pass rusher away, and I wish that there was a chance we could have bought low on Chase Young or something in the offseason.
I didn't catch too much of this game because I was busy basically just being numb to all the pain of the Bears game, much like all the other 1:00 games I didn't see much of. But I did see at the end of this one the very long injury report of guys who were out coming into the game or left the game with some sort of bruise or even just a rough injury. But I do see that Jahmyr Gibbs, 7 catches. I mean, is that whole little, we're going to use him in a way that we don't expect people to see us using him in, or is that the 2.4 yards a carry that he got behind Monty? But honestly,
I don't think that was his fault, though. I think that was a play calling
probably not. I mean, you guys were missing Taylor Decker too, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it was more of a play calling issue. The Lions can be predictable all they want. I don't care. You run it up the middle with Monty. If Jahmyr Gibbs is in, outside. There's no reason Jahmyr Gibbs should never not be running on the outside. He's dynamic. Like, why is he running between the fucking tackles, man? I don't get it.
Because they don't expect it.
It has. I mean, they haven't expected it. That's yet to work this season, but
That's fair. But Jared Goff, what was he, 9 pass attempts shy of that the interception less record. And that was honestly just a really bad pass, I'm gonna be honest. It was a tough look, but
Dan
Jared
Campbell
Goff
blamed the route after the game.
think so?
He blamed Gibbs, yeah.
Or not do you think so, but
Yeah,
you know.
confirmed.
Like, oh, you speculating right now? But I mean, Goff, he was good. I think he did his job. Defense, I mean, you lose both your starting safeties. It's honestly a rough go. But I was impressed with Hutch yet again. He's honestly a superstar. He's turning into one of those top 6 or 7 tackles or pass rushers in the league, in my opinion. He's honestly wowed me ever since like midpoint of last year. He's been fantastic.
Both safeties came back, by the way, like the next drive.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hear you with Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, he had an all right game, but that line's pass rush, like you said, Josh, it hasn't been great at all this year. I think
week 1 was great. Week 1 was fantastic.
You didn't get a sack though.
We had a million pressures. It's Mahomes. He doesn't get sacked.
Pressures.
And that's a great O-line too.
Barely 1 sack through 2 games.
They were also false starting the whole time.
Sacks are like statistically the most important play a defense can make. You need sacks.
But when you're playing Patrick Mahomes, he doesn't get sacked, and it's a great O-line.
You're not playing Patrick Mahomes this week, though. You played Geno Smith.
I know. I said they played bad this week. They played great.
I mean, I kind of see the same player back there. I'm going to be honest.
But yeah, then going to the next thing, Aiden Hutchinson was going against his father again, Kenneth Walker. 2 touchdowns for Kenneth Walker. Another great game in the state of Michigan for him. He tends to show up there.
Was it really that great of a game, though?
I mean, like 90 yards and 2 touchdowns, yeah. But
the yards of carry
line. What was Khalil Herbert's yards per carry today?
I'm not even talking about Khalil Herbert right now. I'm talking about
okay. What was Justin Fields' yards per carry today?
They might have been.
I guarantee you 2.9 was better than that. But the Seahawks O-line, they played good
for 43 yards.
The Seahawks O-line played very good down both tackles, and Geno Smith was able to silence a lot of his one-year wonder doubters today.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, the Rams had a good pass rush, and he looked like Geno Smith. The Lions had no pass rush, and he looked good. So at the end of the day, he got to sit in the pocket. Maybe these tackles are better than Cross, man. Who knows? But I think a big part of it is the Seahawks having our number. I mean, like we said, they beat us the last 2 seasons, beat us this year. All super high scoring games. And it just kind of it came down to the end. This is like we lost in overtime, and it feels like it was a blowout. Like I honestly don't even know how to put it. It's the Goff pick 6
deflated.
Killed morale, yeah. But they came back after Goff responded well after the pick 6, which is still up for debate whose fault that is. But he obviously loses his passes without an interception streak. He was close. He was, I think, 20 away from breaking the record. He was close.
Right.
But I like to see him respond. Obviously, you could throw a pick 6. We know quarterbacks. We're going to be talking about one later that when his team gets down, he doesn't play well. He starts staring down receivers. But Goff didn't do that. He responded, got him to OT, and then the overtime rules just suck, man. It just is what it is. Lions defense, I mean, it's completely the Lions defense's fault, but it's unfortunate that we didn't get to see Jared Goff at least go out there and give it a try in overtime. Tails never fails, man. Tails never fails.
Geno Smith, he was pretty good. I thought he was nice. DK, he showed up pretty much. Tyler Lockett, he did his one of his 4 games a year where he just absolutely balls out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was talking about earlier, Kenneth Walker, not that special. Only 17 carries for 50, not even 50 yards, 50 or 43 yards. I can't read. But 2 touchdowns, that's important on the goal line, especially. So you just hate to see the Lions go down like this, especially after coming back like that, down 10 in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I guess if you're a stat box watcher, you would say Kenneth Walker had a bad game. But if you watch the game, Kenneth Walker had multiple broken tackles on plays. He had a good game. So the Seahawks surprised me. I didn't think they would be able to go into Ford Field opening game, ski mask game, and get it done. But they got it done, and then we're in the ski mask after the game as a flex. So
yeah, I mean, that's gonna happen. It's not a ski mask game; it's a ski mask year, so it's gonna happen again. This
Oh,
won't be the
man,
last time that happened.
that's a bar.
Um, yeah, I mean, just calling it how it is. But yeah, I mean, you have to when a team does something like the ski masks or like if Colorado would have lost Colorado State, they would have probably all been wearing sunglasses in the IG live after the game. So I don't think anybody's too worried about that. Um, I just like I said, the Seahawks just kind of have our number. Uh, Looking at this season, probably going to go still how I expected to. The Lions are still going to win 11 games. Seahawks are still going to suck and lose to the Niners by 60. So, I mean, it is what it is. I saw some good things, saw some bad things. Jerry Jacobs is burnt toast, man. He is bad. Jerry Jacobs is a beloved player from Lions fans, not me, but Lions fans. And he just, I mean, Tyler Lockett's like 45 years old and he just burnt him like every play today. So, yeah, big problem. Safeties need to stay healthy. We obviously have Tracy Walker too, but CJ Gardner Johnson outside of Hutch is definitely the best player on this defense, so we definitely can't lose on. Anything else about this game?
Seahawks Lions in the playoffs, if they potentially meet, I think there's a good chance with Lions probably winning the North and Seahawks probably being a wild card team. I think that'll be such a fun playoff game considering the last two matchups they've had.
Yeah, and then they knocked us out of the playoffs, man.
Right.
They're in love with us, man. They're in love with us. I don't know.
Bit of bad blood there.
Yeah. All right. Next game I got here, Colts at Texans. Anthony Richardson looked fantastic, 2 rushing touchdowns before his concussion. And then Gardner Minshew comes in and he balls out. I was telling you earlier, Mike, it really pays to have a good backup because, I mean, even though the Colts were winning in that game when AR got hurt, I don't want to throw Nick Foles' name through the mud, but if Nick Foles comes in, who knows what happens in that game, or if Matt Ryan comes in. But I want to praise CJ Stroud. He was getting beaten up all day, got sacked 6 times, still finishes with 384 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So that's great for them. Texans had no run game and just got kind of bullied up front all game, though.
Yeah, what you were saying about CJ Stroud, he's honestly been very solid given his situation. Week 1, I think he was missing only Titus Howard, and this week he was missing Tunsil and Howard. And he's only turned the ball over twice, and they were both fumbles, which honestly you can't always blame on the quarterback. But put up over 350 yards today with 2 touchdowns and took care of the ball. I'm honestly very impressed. But Anthony Richardson, before he went down, like you said, he was great. I think they're really using him very well with his physical gifts, and he's also got rocket for an arm too. If I'm a Colts fan, I'm very excited. Obviously, very unfortunate that he went down, but hopefully he comes back fast and just helps out later on.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson, I mean, so far he looks like the real deal. I mean, it's not a stretch at all to say he looks like the best rookie quarterback. 2 rushing touchdowns before he got hurt. And Shane Steichen, he didn't have the greatest week 1 play calling, but this week play calling, Shane Steichen, he was on a tear, especially in the first half. Some of those just design QB runs were incredible. They were cooking. And then Minshew came in and he changed what he was doing, and he was able to go back-to-back touchdown drives for Gardner Minshew. So I was very impressed with Shane Steichen today. But the Colts front 7 on defense, there's a lot of people talking, I've said this already, but saying this Colts defense is not very good. And their secondary, it struggled today, but the front 7, they played incredible. DeForest Buckner, he's looking like a top 3 defensive tackle. Grover Stewart, great. Zaire Franklin's been very good. Darius Leonard. I mean, their front 7 looked very good. And then Zach Moss in the running game. Zach Moss, after last week, Deion Jackson struggled. I mean, he had like 14 carries for 17 yards. Bad. Zach Moss came in and had a great day. But like you said, Zach, CJ Stroud looked good. He had a lot of yards. He got a lot of it late in the game when we decided to go soft coverage. So a little bit of stat padding, but he looked good.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me personally, my biggest question marks about the Colts defense were never in the front 7. I think a lot of people's were never in the front 7. It's their secondary's young. We hadn't seen anything from them yet. Like you said today, they kind of struggled. But if you have a good front 7, you're gonna be there. You just can't get absolutely burnt in the secondary. And they didn't get too exposed. Like you said, a lot of garbage time yards from CJ Stroud. Nope. No picks through 2 games, though, from a rookie quarterback. You love to see that. It's definitely Richardson and Stroud looking the best so far. We'll see what we see from Bryce Young tomorrow. But yeah, and like you said about Steichen getting a new quarterback and the play calling completely adapted. I mean, that's a sign of a great play caller. You see the Jets, they lose Aaron Rodgers and they say, okay, Zach Wilson's in. We're throwing nothing but 2-yard passes because we have no game plan for this. So the adaptability in a play caller is huge, and that was great to see from a rookie head coach.
Yeah, kind of going off script and what you said about the Jets. I mean, with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, that offense turns into such like a complex machine, almost like Brady-esque, where all the players kind of have to know so much. Because Rodgers, he's so smart and physically gifted that he could switch from one formation to another and have like a completely different set of plays, even with the same personnel in. And I'd be scared if I was in the AFC East if he was healthy. But luckily for them, they get another year off with Zach Wilson. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I wish I knew what a good play caller was like. That would be fantastic. I haven't seen one honestly my entire time as a Bears fan. But Colts got a good one. Lions have a good one. Bears don't. And God, this sucks. I actually hate it. But Minshew, if he's got to step in for a couple more games, then I think the Colts can definitely still hang in there for sure. Minshew's experienced and he doesn't turn the ball over much. So, yeah.
Yeah. After the game, Jim Irsay said Anthony Richardson's feeling all right. So we'll see how the week goes if he's able to pass concussion protocol and play next week. Really hope he can. I was very excited to see him versus Lamar Jackson. So it'll suck if that doesn't happen. But talking about the Texans, Tank Dell looked very good. Nico Collins looked very good. They almost have like a Packers wide receiver room where they're younger, they're not big names, but they're out there performing. And then Will Anderson Jr. looked very good today. He drew a couple holding penalties.
Yeah, no, it's always great when a great pass rusher gets rewarded with the holding call for their efforts. I completely forgot the rule where you're allowed to be behind someone grabbing their shoulder pad. Completely forgot about that rule being legal now, I guess. But anyways,
I mean, that's how I played back in my day. But
yeah, you had a hold. You guys ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right. Here we got Chiefs at Jaguars. This game was, I was just saying before we started recording how when we get ready and we take the notes for these, how you could tell which games weren't shown much on Red Zone. This game barely got shown on Red Zone. This was supposed to be this high scoring battle between two great offenses, and we ended up getting a field goal war. It was a punt fest in the first quarter, a turnover fest in the second. Just an overall pretty sloppy game. Chiefs came out of half and immediately got that Kelsey touchdown. Finally, Kelsey was getting targeted. He had like 2 catches before that, but then he warmed up with that touchdown, and then it went right back to punting after that.
Honestly, yeah, like you said, you expect this big slugfest of a game, 35, 32, whatever the score you could predict, and like 30s for both teams. I honestly don't even know what I said there. But yeah, seems like Jags, they came out flat. Trevor Lawrence didn't seem like his usual self. ETN really couldn't get much going in the run game between the tackles or horizontally, really. But Mahomes, he seemed like he was doing his thing, especially on third, maybe even fourth down at times. But Kelsey, you could tell it was his first game back. He was still kind of getting acclimated to everything a little bit. And I'm honestly petrified to face them next week. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, one person you wouldn't be able to tell missed any time was Chris Jones. I mean, he comes back, gets a sack and a half, dominates. The Jags O-line has to be better. They gave up 4 sacks again this week. But the Jags' problem wasn't really moving the ball as much as they just couldn't get the ball in the end zone. They had multiple chances. They had plays where they have the ball caught, they just couldn't get 2 feet in. I think Zay Jones might have had 2 or 3 of them. But yeah, the Jags offense just didn't look good in the red zone. They struggled there. And the Chiefs they know how to win games. They got it done.
Yeah. Like you said with the Zay Jones stuff, and then there was the Ridley drop on that big long pass on the left side, which in a game that ended up being a 1-possession game hurts. The Chiefs defense, though, I think we need to give it up for the Chiefs defense. They played better than I thought they were going to play last week, and they played better than I thought they were going to play this week. So Patrick Mahomes for the defense is scary.
Yeah, I mean, last week they held the Lions to 14 points, and then you add in Chris Jones to a defense who was able to hold a very dynamic offense, to be honest, to that little points. And they look like a good defense who added an absolute bona fide stud to their front seven. And they sent him off the edge sometimes. They sent him right up the middle and pass rush. He was everywhere, especially in the run game and a little bit in the pass game too. So this Chiefs team is once they get a few more games under their belt, get more game conditions, some more chemistry between Mahomes and those other receivers. Kelsey gets back into shape. Same with Chris Jones. You got to be scared of this team because you can't really rule out anybody that has Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones as we saw today.
Yeah, I still think they need one more weapon on offense, or they just need Isaiah Pacheco to be able to step up and become that weapon. But back to their defense, they were able to hold Calvin Ridley to only 2 catches today. I think 28 yards or something. So
It was like some 32 or something like that.
yeah, very impressed by the defense for the Chiefs today. They dominated. And today was actually the Chiefs' only 1 o'clock kickoff. So
I saw that. Yeah,
for the rest of the year, they'll be at prime time at 3 o'clock.
they're playing like a West Coast schedule now or something. Man. It's wild. I just want to see how many tackles did Bolton have today? Yeah, I love the team of tackles. 8 tackles. Nick Bolton is going to be a Pro Bowler for sure. But you guys ready to move on to the next game?
Yeah.
All right. So here we talked about it in the preview. The Chargers, we said they consistently Charger, and we don't want to talk about them anymore because it's the same shit every single week. They lose the teams they should beat, and then they compete in games against the good teams, and then that's like 50-50 with whether they win those. I'm tired of just doing the same shit over and over with the Chargers. You cannot lose to an offense like the Titans, man. Tannehill played great today, or he played okay today. Not compared to last week, he played great. No Eckler hurt the Chargers bad, but they had their chances to win. Second overtime game we had. Biggest thing for the Titans is just no turnovers from Tannehill. He had 3 or 4 last week, I think, and that killed them. And they lost in a close one, and then he cuts it down to 0 this week, and they win the game against a better team.
I mean, Herbert, I think not that he was perfect or anything, but you saw the type of effort he was given today. He, on that one scramble, broke a sack, put the ball on the turf, and then just kept going, rolling left, throws a dart. It was beautiful, but then see fourth quarter, can't get it done as they get into the red zone, and then in overtime, just it's unfortunate. But yeah, like you said, no Eckler, definitely hurt. I think we saw a little bit of vintage Keenan Allen today. I mean, I think that was definitely that was nice to see. I'm going to be honest, because he's been dealing with injuries last few years, and I just like seeing an old man really just find some youth and get some pep in his step, go off for a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, the Chargers' pass defense, it's just been brutal so far through 2 games. I mean, letting Ryan Tannehill, you have to get turnovers against the Titans if you want to win. Otherwise, they're just going to run the ball down your throat and dominate the time of possession. You have to force Ryan Tannehill into at least a turnover. And when you don't do that, it's going to be hard to beat them. But it's not that hard to do that. The Titans' pass rush did its job on Herbert, 4 sacks as well. And at this point, I think this might have to be Brandon Staley's last year, no matter what, almost. They're just constantly underperforming. It kind of reminds me of like Cliff Kingsbury with the Cardinals. You think they're going to be good, and they underperform.
Yeah, I just wanted to just read off this list of names real quick on the Chargers defense. Derwin James, Kenneth Murray, Asante Samuel, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, J.C. Jackson. How the hell do you give up 27 points to Ryan Tannehill? I don't get it, man. I actually don't get it. And now we're looking at the Dolphins right now. It's a close game, obviously, or it's a semi-lower scoring game than the last game they played in. But the Dolphins went and put 38 points on the Chargers. Our team's just going to hang 30 on the Chargers every week.
That gets me excited for Bears Chargers. The Bears can put up more than 20 on one team.
I mean, right now I think it's Bears, Chargers, and then that's like the whole list of teams I hate right now. I don't even hate the Packers and the Vikings as much as I hate the Chargers right now. It's just so much wasted potential, man. Like this team should be so good. They should be so good.
Is it coaching?
Could be. I mean, but like, what do you want Brandon Staley to do? His team's giving up 30 points. How are you supposed to get better on defense for this team?
Right.
He's supposed to be a defensive guru, and that I feel like that's got to be on him.
I mean, maybe they need. I guess you could say they need a D tackle, maybe. But
I just feel
about
like
a team who hasn't been able to stop the run in years.
I feel like I think we talked about it last week. You can't really put the blame on really anybody. Like, yeah, the defense gave up 27, but where's the lack of talent? Is it just them not performing? Is it play calling? Is it just lack of situational awareness and whatnot? But it's honestly puzzling that a team has, like you said, this much talent and they don't come away with wins like this. It just does not make sense.
There's no lack of talent at all. If you take the biggest 10 names on the Chargers and put them up against every other team, they might win. It's crazy.
Against maybe the Cowboys.
Yeah, probably the Cowboys, and then I mean they're beating the Chiefs easily.
Well, the Chiefs are very top heavy if you're going strictly talent.
But they're beating the Chiefs, they're beating the Bills,
probably Dolphins too.
Probably
how much you value some of their pieces.
It's crazy, man. It is. It's wild.
Niners.
Yeah, Niners.
I think they're up there with Niners. I think they're up there strictly because you got Herbert at quarterback. You would think they'd be in whatever game that they're. I mean, no, they are in every game that they play. It's just they don't win. It doesn't make sense.
Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, both 8 catches today, so I guess that's cool.
Yep. Gerald Everett had a good game.
Yeah.
That's nice.
He got the remainder of targets that were left after Keenan Allen and Mike Williams got everything. 23 targets for those two. Rest of the team, quick math real quick. 6, 11, 5, 7, 16 other targets. But yeah, that's crazy. You guys ready to move on to the next one?
Yes, sir.
All right. The next game on here, the Chicago Bears at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Can
I get us going with this one?
Yeah, you can go. Yeah, you can take it.
All right. Okay. So we're just going to start with the bad, get it out the way. Justin Fields. All right. And then on to the good. DJ Moore, he's a stud. I don't know how you only target him twice after that first drive going into the fourth quarter. 6 catches, 104 yards. And then Darnell Wright, he's been fantastic. I'm a huge fan of him. Roshan Johnson, fantastic getting him in the 4th round. I'm so happy about that. Claypool, he actually showed up today, but inconsistent. Not that he showed lack of effort, but just lack of awareness, I guess, on some of his routes, kind of fading away from the ball at times and not going back to it when he needs to. But kind of to broaden on my Justin Fields comments, it's not looking good. It's really not. There was a lot of bad staring down receivers, not pulling the trigger, just lack of pocket awareness. But then when you go down 20 to 10, and then you see a drive where he rips off 6 for 6, and the touchdown throw is an absolute laser in between the middle third and the outside third to Chase Claypool of all players, where it's just out of the reach of the defender on a rope, hit the top of his drop and just fires it. It's just, it kind of reels you back in. It really does. I'm not out here preaching that he's going to be a stud, at least not anymore, but it's just
good correction. Good correction.
It's, there was good, but holy shit, there was so much more bad. And we're not even getting into like the play calling. I'll get into that on probably my next go around within our little spiel here, but he's not making that year 3 leap that you need to see out of a quarterback who just got an improved line, improved weapons. I'm not saying that everything around him is perfect, but they are vastly improved from what he had last year. I said in the offseason, I said in the week 1 preview, I said in the week 2 preview, I'm saying it now. Year 3 for Fields was put up or shut up, and he's not putting up, and it's honestly bothering me. It hurts a lot. In my soul, actually. I really wanted it to be him. I really did. He has he's got all the physical talent in the world. He's just not putting it together upstairs. It hurts. It really does.
Yeah. Mike, I just keep in my head, I just keep hearing the whole off season Oh, Justin Fields finally has a receiver now. And now it's week 2. And the first thing you opened up with is Fields was bad and DJ Moore's a stud. So who's the problem now? Was it his receivers or was it him the whole time? So we got Claypool. He still sucks. He had a touchdown today on Fields' one good throw. So you got that at least. My thing with the Bears play calling, and I said this earlier, the Bears run every single play like they're at the 1-yard line and they just need to get in. Like a little screen or whatever. They just refuse that. They pretend like you can't pass farther than 10 yards. It's hilarious. It is what it is, though. I mean, that's the offense you got to run like that. I mean, they're running the 49ers when they had to play McCaffrey because their quarterbacks got hurt. So what happens when you have a running back at quarterback. Nothing so far this year has shocked me from the Bears. Even though I did pick them in this game, I thought the locker room was going to be mad after the Packers lost. I thought they were going to come out with some energy. They didn't. They lost to another not good team, even though I want to give Baker his flowers. He was fantastic to that. But lost to another not good team. And the Bears are the Bears, man. Maybe you'll have the top 2 draft picks, though.
Yeah. I picked the Bears as well. I was with you. I thought the locker room, I thought Matt Eberflus would have them going, but they're now up to 12 straight losses, dating back to last year. And it's just the whole
make it 13. They lost next week.
Yeah, 13. Well, you never know. The Colts beat the Chiefs last year. So
we know.
The Colts beat the Colts own the Chiefs. My bad. But
I'll take that. Right.
At this point, I think it's just what happened to Justin Fields is an organizational failure on every single level. The GM just not giving him weapons when he's young, a good O-line when he's young. You have to have something for him. And then the coaching, they had a chance to go get Jim Caldwell, who's been there, done that. He knows what to do, had a detailed plan to help develop Justin Fields. And I like Matt Eberflus, but he's a defensive guy. You pick him over him. Your defense still isn't good, which I don't blame on Matt Eberflus at all because, I mean, he doesn't have anything. I mean,
that's personnel.
What is he supposed to do
that's
with
100%
this D-line?
Personnel.
What's he supposed to do with this D-line? I mean, they got $60 million in linebackers, I guess. But yeah, I think he's just Matt Eberflus isn't right for this team.
They got a sandwich. They got a sandwich with no bread. They got everything in the middle, and both ends are nothing.
Right. It's very. There's maybe one outlier in the entire league that you could really argue where you gave a young quarterback a defensive head coach and they've had success, and that's the Bills. And even then, that's a little bit of a stretch because they haven't made it past the AFC Championship game. And the Chargers, we've talked about them time and again. You gave Justin Herbert, Brandon Staley, and they have yet to win a playoff game, right? So I'm not saying that Fields, if you gave him an offensive coach, he would become like Jalen Hurts or I don't know, Tua or whatever. But yeah, I've said that's maybe like the linear progression is similar because of the weapon you add, but it sucks. The guys Flus brought in, they suck. Getsy, I mean, yeah, I think it was 6 weeks in last year. We adjusted the offense and made it more run centric, mainly around Fields' legs, because those are probably one of his 2 best greatest assets to his deep ball, which we haven't seen him uncork one yet, aside maybe that Chase Claypool touchdown.
That was a laser. I'll give him his flowers. That
was it was gorgeous, and that's why I'm so hurt because he does that, but then everything else before that, it's just like, where the hell was that all game? It's the inconsistency that makes me want to just slowly decease, for lack of a better word. And I can go hours and hours on play calling, but I'll just start with this. 1st and 5 from inside your own 20. Let's run a screen pass. Okay, Chase Claypool got the assignment wrong. He went for a run block instead of kind of just fading a little bit and then gets OPI. It was a successful play if Claypool doesn't do the whole OPI thing. But the very next play, you run
it back.
You run the exact same play to the same side. Honestly, I'm glad Shaq Barrett picked it off because if he didn't, I'd be embarrassed. That's just a boneheaded move for you to get a screen ran on you 2 times in a row to the exact same side on back-to-back plays. if you let that happen and they get positive yards on it both times, that's shameful. So good on Shaq Barrett and the Bucs defense to jump on that. No, not even the Bucs defense, just Shaq Barrett. He jumped on that, snagged it, took it to the crib with a little bit of help from his boys behind him. But Getsy, what are we doing? You just saw your quarterback go 6 for 6 the prior drive. You had him rolling. He was hot. Morale was high. Your defense just got to stop to give you a chance to go and win the game in what was a must-win game for you to even really have a chance to salvage your season. And then you go screen and screen back-to-back plays, and then you deserve what happens to you. You really do. It wasn't bad play calling the entire game. I will say that. There were moments where Fields had open receivers and he didn't pull the trigger. I can think of 2 big plays. It was, I believe, a 3rd and 10 or a 3rd and 11 where he had DJ Moore on a I don't know, like a 8 or 9 yard dig, and he just didn't pull it. DJ Moore, you saw him, he was clapping for it. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Throw me the damn ball." It was frustrating because you see that those two have a great relationship in the
He didn't even
offseason.
look either. He wasn't. His eyes were on the right side in the middle.
Right, exactly. Which it sucks that it wasn't part of the progression, but again, being a pro quarterback, going into year fucking 3, you've got to realize that, hey, that right side, it's not there. If it's not there, let's just go faster and faster to those other progressions. And he would have gotten a DJ, and it could have been an easy first down and maybe more, because we've seen DJ Moore break tackles time and again, even in his limited targets. Thank you, Luke Getsy, for that from week 1. But Mooney, I don't think he even had a target this game, but I think he was out earlier in the game because he was just getting something checked out, and I just didn't see him on the field at all in the second half, which kind of sucks because he made me proud in week 1 because he came back from that injury and really showed people like, hey, I'm still here. I can still produce a little bit, but he wasn't in this game. I don't know if it was heat exhaustion or whatever, but now defensive side of the ball, no pass rush. I mean, I liked that Flus was kind of trying to dial up some blitzes. That was pretty cool. But when your rookie cornerback is facing against Mike Evans, it's just he's going to get picked on. And it happened time and again. Mike Evans had that touchdown on him, but he also had that blatant offensive pass interference, but it's whatever. But no, don't make that face. No, it was OPI. It was OPI. That's not the reason. It's not the reason. It's not the reason we lost. It was definitely OPI.
Weight room.
As you were going on there, before you started talking, I didn't have much else to say about the Bears in this game. I now have a statement and 3 questions, so I want to rattle these off real quick. First thing is, and I felt this way about Justin Fields for a long time, I think there's something between the eyes wrong with him. Every single time he turns it over or it's not going right on offense, he sits on the bench and he pouts. And then if it starts to get bad and the game starts to get a little bit unreachable, that's when he stares down receivers. Maybe it's because he hasn't won a game in like a calendar year, but there's something. I mean, obviously I don't know the guy. I don't got anything against him personally, but he kind of just seems like it just seems like he has no juice to him. Like Baker Mayfield's not good, but Baker's got some juice to him. Fields has no juice.
Honestly, I feel like the juice he has is fake juice.
Whenever he's doing like the pregame huddles, it just feels so forced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't remember exactly what week it was. I think it was in preseason week 3. Darnell Mooney, during one of the postgame press conferences, one of his quotes was like, yeah, he's just got to bring the juice. But the full quote was, he's got to bring it because that's just not the type of person he is. And we all look to him as a leader. And when he's just not getting all riled up and stuff, then we kind of just sort of follow suit in a way. And I mean, I kind of get that, but as a guy your team looks to as a leader, you kind of have to be a lot more vocal and a lot more, like you said, juiced up.
Tua is the same way. Tua kind of seems like more of a reserved guy. The problem is they have dogs. They have dogs. That's the difference. The Bears don't have anybody like outside of Fields, even who, I mean, what, Eddie Jackson? You can be the juice, but you can't just suck.
Right.
Like,
I mean, one day I guess you could really talk about. I mean, I really hope DJ Moore was going to be that guy coming in, but at the same time, like, I know he's a straight up dog. He really is. I think he had potential to put himself in the top 8, top 7 receivers if him and Fields both popped off this year. And DJ Moore, despite the shitty quarterback play that he's gotten this year, or inconsistent quarterback play, I'm not going to say downright shitty, because he's looked really good at times. But a lot more of the times, he's been bad. But Moore he's looked good. I think he's looked really good. But he's not a vocal locker room guy. He's not a diva wide receiver who's going to be loud, win or loss.
Yeah.
The Bears don't really have anybody like that, honestly. And
who did have the juice? Mitch Trubisky. Cutler did too.
Yeah.
But he did. Y'all gave up on him. It's so funny to watch the exact same thing happen that happened 3 years ago. It was Mitch. 6 touchdown game. Mitch. It's happening again. Hope you guys like Drake May. But
I don't. I can't see number 10 from North Carolina again. I just can't.
But let me rip these questions real quick. One, is it still King Poles?
Do I get answer then
yes
rationale?
or no? It's a yes or no question. It's a yes or no question.
I'm giving rationale. Yes and no. I think he did well enough to set himself up in case Fields did flop, like he kind of is right now. So the Bears are going to finish with two top 10 picks is what it looks like. One might be top 3, 2 might be top 5, whatever. He's putting himself in position to take a quarterback that he wants, plus another player. Could it be a receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr.? Could it be an edge in Jared Verse? I don't know yet because we don't know all the mocks and the final draft order. So
you say that about a quarterback. Unless they get the number 1 pick, the best they're going to get is Drake May. You're taking Drake May over Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson. That's because that's what he's doing. If that's what
I'm going to be honest, I don't think moving on from pick 1 last year, I don't think that was a bad idea at all. I think that was the correct move.
We haven't seen enough.
You give Fields surroundings and see where he's at. That's the correct move. I think he played last offseason.
They had to have known what they had, though.
I mean,
they do know what they have. Their play calling shows they know what they have. They know now, at least.
Yep.
All right, let me rip through these. Next one. You said this week and last week were must-win games. Is every game a must-win?
No, it's not. I mean, week 1 was a must-win.
But next week.
I mean, I guess. But it I guess you could say it's a must-win, but you're not going to win.
It's a not get blown out.
Oh, no, that's going to happen. But week 1 was a must-win because it was rivalry, hopefully turning a new leaf against a new Packers quarterback. Week 2 was a must-win because if you lose week 2, especially in an ugly fashion, which was kind of what they showed this week, it's just setting the tone for the entire year. You don't have a cakewalk schedule, especially being a team who just had the number 1 overall pick last year. You're going to have a worse roster than like 90% of the teams you play this year. Winning this week was super important. Now I want to know what happened because I'm seeing your face.
It just looks like it was a dumbass PI, but
well, last week was a must win. Today was a must win because if you go down to 0-2 going into Arrowhead, which is honestly pretty much damn near a guaranteed loss, unless Mahomes decides to just sit out the second half or retire after the first couple plays. But even then, I wouldn't put it past. I don't even know who the backup quarterback is. I wouldn't put it past
Henny. No, it's not Henny anymore.
I don't think I thought it was Henny, but it's not. I don't think.
No, he retired.
I wouldn't put it past QB2 on the Chiefs to kind of dice up the Bears defense with Reed as the play caller and the lack of pass rush from the Bears. But
yeah, it'll be ugly.
Yeah, it will be.
Blaine Gabbert.
All right, I got last one for you. Same one that I had last week. 0 to 100 on Fields. 0 is trade him today. 100 is he's our franchise quarterback. Where are we sitting?
I'm probably sitting roughly at a 35 to 40 right now.
We're dipping in the 30s.
Because the Fields' issues aren't of the physical nature. They are strictly mental. It's like he's just not processing whether it was the aggressiveness was coached out of him or just he was focusing too much on footwork and like his mechanics to where he just isn't reading a defense as well. But he's putting in the work. He's he's a fantastic human being.
It's over. It's over.
It honestly might be. He's
It's over. When you when you
as
start
corny
bringing
as
up
that sounds.
His footwork has debatably gotten worse too. So
as
the fact that he's been working on it is
fantastic human being.
As
He's
corny
a good
as
guy,
it
bro. He's a good guy.
As corny as
So
it
is
sounds,
Mitch.
he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He puts in the work. He wants to be great. It's just not working out.
Shit, I want to be great. Do you? Shit, who doesn't want to be great? All right, you guys ready to move on and
I'm
chuckle
not,
over
I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay.
My turn.
Okay.
It wouldn't shock me at all, or anybody else, to see the Bears go quarterback next year in the draft with their first pick, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, whatever. But it's not 100% impossible that Fields somehow turns this around. I'm not giving up on him. I just can't. I won't give up on him until he's out of a Bears uniform.
You gave up on Mitch though.
I gave up on him
he was
in
in a Bears
Steelers
uniform.
uni.
Yeah.
I gave up on him when he was after that final touchdown pass to Jimmy Graham in the wild card, which screwed Javon Wims for doing that, for dropping that pass. It was just terrible. But
laundry list of mid receivers, man. Exactly. Hey, what's the old guy doing now? Velus Jones, is he playing?
He had, I think he had 1 carry, and it was a negative 3 yards because we decided to run into the short side of the field, which is another truly impeccable example of our fantastic play calling that we have here in Chicago. But Fields got to be better, has to be. I'll be ride or die with him until the wheels fall off of this wagon.
Got a quarterback that can't throw, and you're out here drafting receivers that are like Travis Kelce. So it's just crazy. But I've said my piece.
Yeah, last thing on the Bears. If Bears get number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams has talked about he wants to go to an organization where he will succeed. I think there's a good chance that if the Bears get the number 1 overall pick, he stays in college.
Hey, you know
That's
what?
all I gotta say. We can go to the next game.
You know what? If he does, we'll just take Marvin Harrison Jr. and we can just say "fuck you" to the Colts.
I mean, we're not going to be in the top draft picks like y'all, so
I don't know. We'll see. It's a long season. Bears started 2-1 last year, and they finished with number 1. We'll see.
Bengals started 0-2 last year, made the conference championship.
Okay, you're just proving my point. It's the first 2 weeks. We don't know.
Shall we pick off? Shall we go off the Bengals point?
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
All right, Bengals Ravens. Joe Burrow. Ouch. I don't want to toot my own horn here. I did say my expectations were a little bit lower on the Bengals this year in the preseason. This could just be a fluke. They could go and, like you said, start 0-2 and then go off again. But Jamar Chase, 31 yards receiving today. Not great. Another, honestly, a fairly high scoring game for the AFC North. The Ravens go into Cincinnati and get a big win. Lamar bounces back. Gets only 54 rushing yards, but 237 passing, 2 touchdowns. Lamar, he's slinging it, man. He does every single thing on the football field better than Justin Fields. He is to Justin Fields like I'm Justin Fields and like me to Joe Burrow. That's the difference in my eyes.
I feel like that's
I'm obviously being sarcastic, but no, just because you think of the best running quarterbacks, and Lamar, like, that's an example of a running quarterback that can actually throw. But I love to see it. We all said in the offseason, this is an opportunity to be a huge year for Lamar. He's playing like every dollar he got paid.
Yeah, he's honestly been fantastic this year. I mean, week 1 was a little rough, but their run game is fantastic, even losing J.K. Dobbins. Rest in peace, his Achilles. But Gus Edwards picking up kind of where he left off. Justice Hill even picking up a little bit of slack. Lamar doing what he does on the ground. And like you said, Lamar, he's slinging it. He's using those weapons. Unfortunate that OBJ went down with that ankle injury. I think. Did he come back? I don't think he did. I think he was out.
No, he didn't. He was out.
All right. But going over to the Bengals side, Joe Burrow, he doesn't look like his normal self. But like you said a couple weeks ago, Mike, Bengals last couple years, especially with Burrow not playing in preseason, they do come out a little slow in the last couple years, at least in the first few weeks. So they got T. Higgins more involved, clearly, compared to his 0 catches last week. I think he had, 8 or 9 this week? He had 8 and 2 touchdowns, which is nice. But I said it. I thought it was going to be a relatively high-scoring game, maybe a little lower than what I anticipated, but there was some scoring in this game. It was a good game.
Yep, this is kind of how I expect this game to go. It was a little more high scoring than I thought it would be. But Joe Burrow, I thought the Ravens going to win. I thought one more week Joe Burrow's going to struggle. I think next week he might be back to the old Joe Burrow, not the rough Joe Burrow we've seen so far on this new contract. The Ravens were able to win without debatably 2 of their best defensive players in Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Williams, and then 2 offensive linemen in Tyler Linderbaum and Ronnie Staley. OBJ did get hurt, so hopefully he's okay. And Burrow did re-aggravate his injury, though, which does bear the potential threat of struggling again next week. But the Ravens were able to beat their demons in the Bengals, who beat them 3 times last year, last game being in the playoffs. So good game by Lamar.
AFC North's one of those divisions where some teams just own other teams, and that's just kind of what it is. But a little bit of a switch up today. That's all I got about the Ravens Bengals. I'm concerned about Joe Burrow. I won't be like, if I was a Bengals fan, I wouldn't be hitting panic button yet.
Oh, there's no way you can. It's Joe Burrow. He's shown time and again that even after some slow starts, he's been fantastic.
Couple more weeks if he's playing like this, then
maybe. It depends on how it kind of looks. Because if they're like 0-4, 0-5, okay, then yeah, maybe a little bit. But yeah, who did they have last week? Cleveland, and then the Ravens. Those are 2 tough games. I'm gonna be honest. Cleveland's got a good roster.
Definitely.
And Baltimore, Lamar's got his best supporting cast. We've been talking about it all year. But I'd have thought of my head. Oh, shout out to Joe Mixon, such an underrated, not talked about enough running back. I feel like he was very selfless in the offseason, taking that little pay cut. And I don't know. I just wanted to shout him out.
The whole offseason?
Joe Mixon.
Shooting people?
What?
Joe Mixon out here shooting people.
I mean,
very selfless of him.
Yeah.
He's just protecting the one he loves, for real. But,
notice how he didn't shoot himself.
But he's doing all the right things on the football field. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there you go.
And shout out Charlie Jones. Good punt return for the Purdue legend.
Oh yeah,
Chuck Sizzle.
All right.
But, yeah, that's all I got.
Love you.
I'm going.
All right. Next game on here, Las Vegas at Buffalo. This was another one that was not shown on Red Zone really that much, along with the Chiefs and the Jaguars. So honestly, until the game really got to the close to the end, I didn't realize how heavily the Bills pulled away. Game was 14-10 Bills at one point, and then after that it was nothing but Bills. They ended up putting up 38 points at home in the home opener. Josh Allen, 274, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Let me see. Did he fumble at all? I don't think he fumbled. No, I don't think he did. So doesn't turn the ball over, which is a drastic change from last week. Good old-fashioned get-right game for the Bills.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. After seeing what happened last week with Josh Allen throwing a lot of errant passes and them kind of leaning away from the run game a little bit, they kind of just flipped the script and did the opposite. Josh Allen, extremely efficient, 31 of 37, under 300 yards, so he was taking a lot of those shorter passes. He was kind of slicing and dicing a little bit, getting surgical with it. James Cook, 17 carries, 123 yards. You love to see that out of the young guy. And Diggs, he wasn't everywhere on the field, but Gabe Davis making his name known a little bit this year. So I'm sure he'll have a few more games like it where he kind of just has some big stats and a couple big plays. I don't expect him to be like consistently that guy, but yeah, good to see the Bills 100% bounce back after a game that they probably should have won last Monday.
Yeah, this is just the Josh Allen experience. 1 week he can turn the ball over 3 times, and the next week he comes out 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. He wasn't sacked today. Josh Allen played great, but the Bills' defense was really the story of the game. Forced Jimmy G into 2 picks, fumble, and then they were able to hold Josh Jacobs, top 5 running back, to -2 yards on 9 carries. That's very impressive. And then Matt Milano also just going over Josh Jacobs and just taking the ball from him on that interception was
Crazy. That was the only thing they showed on Red Zone. But
yeah, that was mean. But Micah Hyde and Leonard Floyd got hurt, so hopefully they're all right.
All right. You guys ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Next one here, Giants at Cardinals. This game was 20-0 Cardinals at halftime.
This game was fun.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not for Cardinals fans, but well, actually maybe they want to lose. But Giants at halftime, it looked like the season was cooked. You come off losing 40-0 to the Cowboys, and then you're down 20-0 to maybe the worst team in the NFL. Obviously, that was not the story in the end. The Cardinals, I don't want to say they threw the game, but for a team that is tanking, interesting to see that the Giants miraculously start scoring. They did change play callers, though, to Dable, which obviously worked. I don't know off the top of my head who their OC is right now or who was calling plays before Dable, but that guy should never call plays again. I mean, it was just night and day. Dable's going to stay the play caller, I would assume. It would be insane if he didn't. And hopefully Saquon's okay.
Yeah, shout out to Saquon. He's honestly the lifeblood behind this Giants offense. Daniel Jones, he got it done. I mean, that's all you can really say. He got it done. Cardinals called a choke job, call it selling just for number one. I don't know, but the fact that Joshua Dobbs at times looks like a better commander of his offense than Justin Fields, holy shit, that hurts. So that's really all I have to say about this one.
Yeah, Daniel Jones and that Giants team came out in the second half. They had matched their largest team comeback in history, 21 points. Jalen Hyatt, shout out Jalen Hyatt, a couple explosive plays, 2 big catches for 89 yards. Darren Waller looked very good too. 6 catches, 76 yards. Nice to see him healthy. And yeah, Brian Dable, that's an example of a good coach going into the locker room, probably telling his players that they suck and they need to go out there and be different.
That's juice. See,
bringing the juice.
Dable's got juice.
And that was the same offseason as Matt Eberflus, right?
You said what?
Yeah. Okay. So
same
yeah.
hiring session. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's kind of all I got too. The Giants though, if the Giants didn't have this turnaround and ended up losing this game, like even if it was like 30-6 or something, you maybe couldn't start a season worse. So, and the vibes would have been really bad going into the rest of the season. So good for them that they got it going. And they're in a tough division. I was low on the Giants early when we were talking about them in the preseason. I still am kind of low on them. And now 2 weeks in, I don't think it's a stretch to say that they probably are the worst team in this division. I mean, we'll talk about the Commanders' defense here in a couple minutes, but the Commanders might be nice. And Sam Howell, that's all I got, though.
Why don't we just get going on them?
Yeah, we can go right to them. Perfect.
Hey, I want to say one thing before
go
we go. Week 16, Christmas Eve, Bears Cardinals, major implications on the number 1 overall pick. Keep your eyes peeled.
Crazy. Week 2. But all right, Commanders at Broncos. I had written down pregame on my thing here. Commanders close. It maybe shouldn't have been as close as it was, but it was close. Brian Robinson looked great. He's becoming the workhorse. Didn't see a lot of 2-4 out there. Antonio Gibson, that's what we like to see. Despite giving up 33 points, the Commanders defense, they are just freaks, man. 7 sacks today on Russell Wilson. We've raved about them before, about all the names on that defense.
They're nuts.
Chase Young's first game back had a couple bad penalties, but he's still getting his feet wet. He hasn't played since like 2021. So, yeah, and Sam Howell had some lasers, and it's just to keep always bringing it back to Fields. It's just funny to see Sam Howell look better than Fields.
It's for you. It's funny to see a lot of guys look better than Fields, but for me, it's nothing but pain. But it's nice to see 50 Cent going out, taking that backfield for himself. Terry McLaurin getting involved in the offense a little bit, doubling his catches and then some. But on the Broncos side, Russell Wilson, Broncos country, let's ride right back into this game and somehow bring it to a 2-point conversion off of that Hail Mary. I'm surprised you didn't mention that. That was something that you kind of just left speechless when you see it actually happen. But oh wow, now that I'm looking at it, Russell Wilson led the Broncos in rushing, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out to Marvin Mims stepping up a little bit, 113 yards
I
and a
love
touchdown.
Mims. I love Mims.
He's definitely someone really exciting to look at out of college, and he's proven it now. Jerry Jeudy, I feel like he's just somewhat invisible. It feels like he's just not making wow plays. But
He's never been a wow receiver though. Even like
I
coming
know
out of
it's
Bama,
just
he was never a wow receiver.
I just feel like coming out of college, him and CeeDee Lamb were similar in terms of play style a little bit. But
CeeDee Lamb's got the burners though. Judy, I don't want to call Judy slow, but
right,
he's not fast.
Judy's a little more technical, I guess, but
Yeah,
CeeDee Lamb's definitely elevated himself by far. But it is what it is. But that Commanders front is absurd, and if Sam Howell is the guy, which he looks really promising, really really promising, they could be on the up and up way sooner than some of us may be ready to admit.
Yeah, I've always been a big critic of Chase Young so far, and I would say he looked very good today. I was shocked by how well I felt like he played, especially late in that game, getting pressures on Russell Wilson on that last drive when the Broncos should have had a touchdown, but were unable to get the ball in the end zone. This is the Commanders' first 2-0 start since 2011. It's a new era for them, and they came back from down 18 to do it. So very impressive. Like you said, Sam Howell looked good, and for the Broncos to get the Hail Mary and out the 2-point conversion is brutal. But Sean Payton, after all this talk, just talking crazy on Nathaniel Hackett, saying all this stuff, to start 0-2 against 2 games you should have won
and
is home. Not a good.
It's gonna be a good game. That Jets game's gonna be a good game.
Not a good look for Sean Payton, really.
Yeah, definitely not. Still, I mean, obviously, new team, whatnot. Russell Wilson looked really, really good in the first half. He looked really, really bad in the second half. And I continue to think about. I just continue whenever I hear Chase Young's name and I think about Chase Young. Jeff Okuda's name just keeps replaying in my head. And if we just did not lose that last game or win that last game against Green Bay, Chase Young and Aiden Hutchinson, then. But I love the Commanders. I think they're a really good team. I think they're going to surprise some people, and I could see them fitting in like that 7 spot in the wild card easily.
Honestly, they're proving me wrong because I mean I wasn't high on Sam Howell coming into the season, but I was very high on their defense. We've talked about it a bunch with trench play and stuff like that. But I think I said it numerous times. It was going to be a lot of 2018 Bears vibes where the offense, they're going to be barely scraping together points while the defense is out here getting crazy stops because of their front four. That's could not be more false. Their offense is putting up a lot of points, and I'm honestly all here for it because this is some fun football. They're giving their fans something to be hyped about, and especially post Snyder, it's very nice.
I'm in the Falcons, man. 2 teams that are just a quarterback away, and I significantly.
We don't even know if they are quarterbacks away.
Falcons, I think they still might be. Commanders, Sam Howell.
Howell might be something. He could be something.
People forget that Howell was supposed to be a top pick in the draft, and then North Carolina just ran the ball.
What did he even fall to? Was he 3rd or 4th round?
Like 4th round.
I think he was 4th round. If they didn't just run the ball, he would have been a top pick in that draft, but
probably.
But yeah, that's all I got about this one. All right, next game here, 49ers at Rams. The Rams actually put up a decent fight against a 49ers team that is significantly more talented than them. Stafford has had some really good passes early in the season. He's looking like vintage Stafford. He doesn't have the best receivers around him. Puka is great, but let's be honest here. He really doesn't have the weapons at all or the O-line. And he still made it work against a pretty good, a great defense in the Niners. Purdy was underwhelming today, especially coming off of last week. We came in here and praised him so much. He had a couple bad misses today. He missed Debo for that deep touchdown that would have put the game out of reach. So I didn't love to see that, but Niners have won the last 9 regular season games against the Rams. So Shanahan just continues to own McVay outside of that one NFC Championship game.
Yeah, back to what you were talking about with the Rams not having weapons. They don't have any big name guys, but they got guys who are kind of stepping into the spotlight a little bit. Their nice little receiver duo of Puka and Tutu. They're playing pretty well. I think it's fantastic name duo as well. It kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. Stafford, he is slinging the rock. He's doing well given his surroundings. But like you said, Purdy, underwhelming. He wasn't anything special today, but he didn't need to be. The team around him is fantastic. McCaffrey, he was doing his thing. Debo, he was even getting the rock on some carries a little bit, so you like to see that. But overall, that's honestly the type of game I expected from both sides. Stafford putting up a decent amount of points just because he's a talented quarterback and he can really just throw the rock when he wants to. But he just doesn't have the guys around him to make the plays. And the Niners, they've just got all the talent in the world on their team, so they're just going to come away with the win.
Yeah, these two teams, you can just tell these are two teams that are well coached. I mean, it just looked like a great coach game.
I wouldn't know. I'm going to be honest.
You wouldn't know. But yeah,
Brock Purdy, love you.
Brock Purdy, he struggled, but he got the win. That's what he's supposed to do. He's 7-0 now as a starter. He's done an incredible job taking care of the ball, which the Niners quarterback seems to be all you really need to do. And Puka Nacua, he just might be the real deal. Back-to-back games, 15-plus targets, and just looks great out there against that good Niners defense. Kyron Williams looked good as well. I'd actually say this offensive line might be overperforming for what their expectations were.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And then the big news before the game with Cam Akers, I don't think he requested the trade. They just said they were done with him and they put him on the trade block. But so Cam Akers is gone. Kyron Williams is the RB1. And yeah, Kyle Shanahan is just so good.
Great trade block for Cam Akers is so funny. But you just cut him. But yeah, getting off your point at Puka Nacua, 20 targets, bro. 20 targets is
someone's got to take the cup roll. Someone has to.
Yeah. I mean, Stafford his whole career has been known to find someone he likes and just force feed them the ball. We saw it with Megatron. We saw it with Kenny Galladay. We saw it with Cooper Kupp, and now we're seeing it again with Puka Nacua. So, I mean, good for him, man. 147 yards and 15 catches. Jesus. How many fantasy points is that? That's a lot.
It was 30.20 or something.
Jesus. He's a freak. Stafford still got some gas left in the tank, though, man.
He's showing.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, it honestly really sucks to see that the Rams are in such a rough financial situation and draft capital-wise as well. Or else they might even be able to field like a really solid like wild card team around Stafford, Kupp, and Donald if they really wanted to, but they're missing a lot of first rounders, a lot of second rounders, and they're just not very plentiful in the salary cap department. So unfortunately, it's like you said, Mike, the O-line's kind of playing outside their means right now. They're probably gonna sink back down to their actual level within the next few weeks or so, if I had to guess. And they'll look like the Rams who just have a depleted roster. And it'll be sad to see, but come the offseason, it'll be interesting to see where Donald, Kupp, and Stafford are next year.
Donald will be on the couch. He's just been 1 foot in, 1 foot out for the Super Bowl.
He got the ring, so I mean,
yeah,
who knows?
That's all that matters. Yeah, that's all I got to say about this game.
I
still love the Niners.
Yeah, I just want to say I think it'll be interesting to see how Cooper Kupp comes back now with Puka Nacua overperforming like this and Tutu Atwell playing well as well.
I could definitely just see it become a situation where the targets just plummet and Stafford locks in on Kupp.
I agree, but
he'll be a decent receiver.
It's good to know that they're getting reps, though. That's really good.
Oh, I also want to say, I don't know, I forgot about this. That sorry field goal at the end to cover from Sean McVay is the most disgusting thing I have ever seen. I can't believe he did that. Didn't even give him a chance to.
And that is why I do not gamble. That's I just can't do it.
I haven't seen something like that in my life.
It's that exact situation.
I couldn't believe it. That game, the Niners were covering 7.5. The whole fourth quarter. Once I got the pick in their own red zone, I was like, "Oh, we're good. We're chilling." And then Sean McVay has the nerve to kick that field goal. So great coach. As a person, I have no respect for him, but and maybe that should be investigated a little bit of why he did that. But hey, anyways, you guys ready to move on to the next game?
Yeah, I'm good.
Don't talk about that scumbag. Anyways, all
My
right,
God.
Jets at Cowboys. Main conclusion: Cowboys defense, best defense in the league, probably outside of that's them and the Niners.
What makes you say
And
that?
yeah, and Zach Wilson still sucks. Bad. He's still really bad. Brees Hall, 4 carries for 9 yards. Needed to lean on him. Didn't. Couldn't really. I know he was tweeting after the game. He's upset. Sauce Gardner deactivated his social medias. It's looking like it's spiraling for the Jets post Rodgers' Achilles injury, which looking at it now in hindsight, he was probably
sense.
the piece holding it together. Yeah.
Yeah, it honestly makes so much sense. And I've got a couple things to say about guys you mentioned already. Zach Wilson, call Fields a bust if you want, but he is there is Justin Fields, quoting Moneyball here, 50 feet of crap, and then Zach Wilson.
And Trey Lance.
I don't know about him yet. He just hasn't gotten the right. Trey Lance hasn't gotten the chance yet. And now he's QB3 on the Cowboys, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's a can of worms that we don't got to get into. Garrett Wilson, I feel sorry for him. Like, quoting Rodgers, sorry, kid. This shit sucks. It really does. He was primed to probably have one of the best receiving seasons out of all receivers this season, but ended up just getting the short end of the stick with Zach Wilson again after the Rodgers injury. And Sauce Gardner, I know you and I have been talking about it a couple times on here and on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Sauce Gardner, he overhyped. He really is. He got cooked by CD this week, and last week he got cooked by Diggs. It just he's not
off season. Everyone's talking about how he's in the top 3 corners.
I saw people putting him at 1 with confidence. And
he's not touching Pat Surtain.
I wouldn't put him top 5 right now. I think you could say he's top 10, but not this year.
If he went by Ahmed, people wouldn't be saying that. It's all about the hype.
It really is, but Zach Wilson, come on, he's bad.
It is bad.
Yeah. Surprised no one's mentioned Micah Parsons for Depoy yet because, I mean, it's hard like this last year, but I think Micah Parsons might have a runaway Depoy go here. Another forced fumble, sack. He does it all. And like you said, Zach, just poor Garrett Wilson was primed for a year. I do want to play a quick game, though. We're going to play a game of would you rather Zach Wilson or Carson Wentz?
Oh, jeez. Carson Wentz just because he's proved he's done something, I guess.
I would also go Carson Wentz. This one's very intriguing to me. Zach Wilson or Cam Newton?
Is Zach Wilson's confidence in play for this in any way?
Zach Wilson or Cam Newton? That's the question.
Just straight up?
As a quarterback.
Probably. Oof. I like Zach Wilson's arm. I really do. He made some crazy throws today. I'm going to be honest. Good and bad.
Also did like 3 picks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go Cam. Just be controversial, I guess.
What'd you say, Josh?
I'd go Zach Wilson.
You go Zach Wilson? Okay. I'll go one more. Zach Wilson or Nick Foles?
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Okay.
Right now, Zach Wilson. 3 years ago, Nick Foles.
Well, no shit. I'm talking about right
2015, now. 2015, I would have taken Cam
Newton. Yeah. I said it before the game. I almost think they should have just benched Zach Wilson. Don't let him go up against this gauntlet of a defense. They let him go up, throws 3 picks. Just not a good matchup for the Jets. And yeah, letting it spiral out of control now.
Well, Matt Ryan.
That was on there. I think I go Zach Wilson just because that offensive line stinks, and we've seen what the statue looks like in that offensive line.
If you would have had Matt Ryan, we would have just been playing Colts backups for Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to bring up too many Colts players. I was thinking they make a trade for Gardner Minshew maybe halfway through the season.
Ooh. I mean, with Richardson getting hurt every single week, I feel like you're better off.
Yeah, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't lose.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be back next week.
Those hits that up,
Maybe we calm down and hyping the Cowboys up a little bit. Their offense hasn't been spectacular.
I would disagree. I think their offense looked great today.
I think their offense has been perfectly fine.
I completely disagree. They had like 3 drives where they had great field position from their defense. They had to settle for field goals.
I mean, the Jets' defense is also really good.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. They also weren't spectacular against the Giants.
They didn't
They
have
They
to
didn't
be.
have to be.
They're put in great spots. I don't know.
Thanks.
They're not going to have every game. They're not going to dominate the other team on defense. And there's going to be games where they have to drive down the field and score points. And I'm not the biggest Dak guy. I don't hate Dak
Me
either.
either.
But we'll see. I'm sure I haven't looked at their schedule, but I'm sure they got some tough games coming up.
Putting up
Yeah.
30 on that Jets defense is impressive. So I don't know.
Right.
About that.
No matter how you
But they
slice
look
it,
at the field
takeaways are
position
not.
every drive. They never had a drive. They
But
just don't
you
have.
just
It's
but you
30
just said
points.
they had what great field position like 3 times. They only got 3 field goals. What about the other times? That means they drove down the field and got 3 touchdowns. Those other times,
The
right?
second half of the game, 12 plays, 55 yards field goal, 4 plays, 1 yard field goal, 6 plays, 5 yards field goal, and then
So where their
12 for
touchdowns
71
come
field
from?
goal. That was the beginning of the game. They had a good drive to come out in the first half, and then they had another good drive in the
So
end.
they extended their. So they did all their work early.
They had two
and-
good drives. They
They did their job. They're good.
I don't know. I just feel like from the Cowboys, great O-line, great weapons. Dak's supposed to be good. Two good drives in the game is interesting, but
I feel like the Cowboys kind of got a slightly overrated O line. They're still good, top 10, but I mean Tyron Smith, he's old, man. Zach Martin, he's still fantastic, but Tyron Smith, he's kind of just a name out there. He's old. He's getting up there.
he's got to be like, what, 33? 34 maybe?
I was thinking like 35, 36. Unless I'm just tweaking a little bit.
He's pushing Jason Peters' age.
Dude, he's
All
old.
right,
But-
you guys ready to hit this last game we were just watching?
Not yet, actually. I wanted
Oh,
to
go
shout
ahead.
out.
Go ahead.
I don't know how anybody let the Cowboys get a former defensive player of the year, Stephon Gilmore, for only a 5th-round pick. That is criminal, and putting him across from Trayvon Diggs is just insane. This defense is absurd.
The Colts put him on the block and no one gave him a better offer. That's on 30
Cowboys
other
got to
NFL
steal.
teams.
They got to steal.
30
It's-
other NFL teams. I mean,
it's
he's also
crazy.
32 years old, 33 years old.
It doesn't matter. He's still so good. Even if you get like 2 or 3 good years, this is the exact time you want to get someone like that who's near the end of their prime and will still give you production while your offense is probably going to fall off soon because Dak is only getting older and he's probably going to want even more money in his next contract. And
Trey Lance,
Pollard's going to. We don't know about Trey Lance yet, but
And we don't know what was going on between Ursay and Jerry Jones. A couple of shady guys.
Okay.
I love Ursay. I
don't
love
do that.
Ursay, but he's shady. You can't tell me he's not shady.
He's not shady. He's not shady.
I wouldn't
He
say
says
he's
everything on his
shady.
mind. He says everything he's thinking.
he talks a lot. Let's just put it that. Him and Jerry talk a lot. More than they should for owners.
Saying
I
Jerry
disagree
Jones
completely. Own the
isn't
team.
shady is crazy.
I never said Jerry Jones. I said
No,
Jim
I know.
Irsay.
I'm talking about that.
You just said they're both shady guys.
I did say that.
Yeah.
And then you were like, Jerry Jones just talks.
No, Ursay just talks.
You said
They
both.
both do, they both do, but Ursay I feel like is definitely a lot more vocal or outwardly expressing, especially via Twitter, especially this offseason with all the whole talks of like trading up, trading back, whatever, staying put.
I just wish my owner was a little bit more off her rocker.
He played the game. He played the game.
Indeed. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah, let's knock out this last one.
All right. Dolphins at Pats game that just finished up here. Pats kept it close. I'm gonna pull up the stats here just because this game just ended. But Pats kept it close. Obviously, like we said, it being in Foxborough, it's gonna be a close game. The Dolphins are consistently good when it comes to playing in warm weather. We see them in the beginning of the season. They always tend to play better when they don't wear those candy ass uniforms in the cold. And they played good tonight. I want to highlight, even though they lost, Mac Jones had a couple plays, again, just like he did last week, where he rolled out and threw some clean balls. And that's huge for Mac Jones. He's in my eyes, he's climbing up the 2021 draft ladder. And
Well,
we know he's not climbing.
That's not saying much. the highest he can go is 2 because no one's
Yeah.
getting past T-Law. So
Yeah, then it's a whole lot of nothing after that. But whole lot of wasted potential. But
yeah,
Tua, 250 yards. Tua wasn't great tonight. Raheem Mostert, 31 years old, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's breaking the mold from what we've been seeing with the old running backs.
Oh, you're done. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was honestly going to say that. Raheem Mostert, he's still up there in age, but he's still producing. Jeff Wilson was out, I think, ruled out before week 1 at some point, and then Raheem Mostert was kind of just given the starting running back duties with no clear number 2 behind him, and he's done nothing but step into it with grace. He's been fantastic, and if the Dolphins can keep this running game just even above average with Tua being as surgical as he's been this year, this team can be so dangerous. And Tyreek, they took away Tyreek a little bit, but I mean, I feel like any team would throw at least 5 players at Tyreek after seeing him go for 215 and 2 touchdowns the week prior. But they've got Jalen Waddle, who is a similar skill set, obviously not as fast, but still very electric. And Tua can put the ball where he wants it. And Dolphins went into Foxborough, which is always a tough place to play, especially coming from Miami, going north, like you said, going into colder weather. But it's coming away with a win like this. It's good to see.
Yeah, Raheem Mostert, Purdue guy, played
Sure.
great. Tua had a good game. Mac Jones, I think he played all right. Good game. Ramondre Stevenson, 15 carries, 50 yards. All right, he looked good. But I can't get over the ending of the game. I think they should have just given him the first down. I think he just deserved it with the effort Cole Strange gave.
That's just one of one of you got to bend the rules a little bit. You have to.
He deserved it.
I thought he had it, but that was just me.
They didn't give it to him.
Tough play for Gesicki too against his old team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been an electric ending, and now it's just black. I think that's bad on the NFL, especially overturning it. They could have just said there wasn't enough evidence.
But I mean, look at
NFL.
the play though. He's short. Like you can see his knee down. He's short.
That's just camera angles.
It's all a construct.
Touche. Jalen Waddle had a good game. He got smacked though. Did you guys see that? That was
I saw.
one of my
I think I saw
reactions
your
when we were
reaction to that, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
He got smacked, and Bill Belichick was like upset about it. I was like, "All right, bro." He got smacked.
Can we talk about how Judon was playing really good coverage on that play too?
Yeah, he
play up, but then
I don't even remember who the guy was. Was it like Mafo or something? What was the guy's name?
I have no idea.
But yeah,
I was just surprised Judon stayed in coverage that well to break up that pass.
Judon can do everything.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not just a DN.
He was the last person I expected to be in coverage on Jalen Waddle and getting a PBU. Yeah. That was crazy.
It was crazy. I gotta give it to Miami though. Go and you start the season. 2 tough road games. I mean, Chargers aren't much of a road game, but had to go to LA. And
coast to coast, it's a tough road game.
Yeah, coast to coast. Went to LA, beat up on that sorry team, and then tough game in Foxborough on Sunday night, and they're coming out 2-0, and now they're heading back to Miami, I presume. Yep, against the Broncos. So another sorry team.
Well, I think you just got to look at it like the Bills. They had their chance on Monday Night Football. They blew it. They should be 2-0, and now the Dolphins are sitting at the top of this division 2-0 with who they faced. Oh, right, Chargers with one division win under their belt. The Jets, they're pretty much down for the count because they're not going to have much of an offense. And Bills are really going to be their only competition in division, at least. So it's really huge for them to start out 2-0. One of them coming in division, so they get a nice little head start in this division race in what feels like it's going to be another really, really neck and neck battle come December, January.
Yeah, I agree. But it was very interesting to see Ezekiel Elliott today, only 5 carries, 13 yards. It looks like this is Ramondre Stevenson's backfield for the foreseeable future.
As it should be.
I agree.
First Patriots 0-2 start since 2001.
Yep. And they won the Super Bowl that year, so it's
victim of circumstance out here. I mean, good team. They play the Eagles and the Dolphins, so
yeah.
So kind of a tough situation for them to be in. The Pats will win some games. They'll probably finish 7-10, I bet.
Probably. The entire division is going to have 7+ wins. The Jets because they're going to have their fantastic defense, and then the Patriots just because it's Belichick. They don't finish with less than 7 or 8 wins. It's not what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to look at the Jets' schedule to see their cupcake wins, but like I just have a hard time believing
they can definitely beat the Patriots once or twice.
The Patriots own the Jets, though. The Jets haven't beat the Pats in like 5 years, right? or something
Something
crazy like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess you're right. And Zach
Yeah.
Wilson, this whole seeing ghost things too.
Yeah, oh my
So,
god.
that was Sam
Mac
Darnold.
Jones is miles better.
Was that
than
Sam
Zach
Darnold?
Wilson.
Oh,
That was Sam Darnold.
I was thinking the same white quarterback for the Jets. It was shitty.
They're all the
Same
same. They had one different one, and he lasted 4 snaps.
Oh my god.
But that's all I got for this one.
Honestly, I'm still so distraught after that. Honestly,
It's wild.
It is.
But okay, that wraps up our week 2 recap. We got a couple Monday night games tomorrow night: Saints at Panthers and Browns at Steelers. Once again, no idea why we're playing those games at the same time, but hey, I guess we're rocking split screen. And then we'll be back recording on Tuesday night the week 3 preview and the week 3 college football recap. And that video will be out on Wednesday. So like and subscribe while you're here, and we'll see everybody in the next one.